it's your favorite nerdy girl here, Nerdy Girl Reviews, and we're back with another recap for And Just Like That, now streaming on HBO Max. If you'd like to see and hear the full commentary, keep me locked here on YouTube. If you're watching this on Instagram, click the link in bio. If you're watching this on IG Stories, click the link. It'll link you back to my YouTube page. And if you'd like to see my other reviews and recaps, you can catch me on sofritoforyoursoul.com. Stay tuned, y'all. And we're back. We're listening to Todd Rundgren. Hello, It's Me, 1972. We hear a little bit of it in like a classical sense in this episode. It was really featured in the first episode of Hello, It's Me. And yeah, if my wardrobe looks familiar, it's the outro to what Miss Carrie Bradshaw is wearing as she exits her famous apartment. But she has these flowers attached to her, so I just thought I'd hold them in my hand. I try to match as much as possible again, but I'm no seamstress, so just thought I'd point that out. And yes, Happy New Year! We are in a new year. So I thought in the traditional Sex in the City, and we haven't seen really much of it this year, a little bubbly. Just to welcome the new 2022. So cheers, y'all. Let's have a little bit of sippy poo. Yummy. We made it. We made it through the first week of the new year. A little crazy with this whole thing that we're living through. But again, let's get to the review. This is going to be a quick review, honestly. I don't know in terms of like, I feel like people are split, and I think it's leaning more towards not being a fan favorite, this new series. And I'm kind of teetering and balancing out more towards that end. And I hate saying it because I think there was so much potential here. And again, I say it's hard to judge these shows because of the simple fact that they've been filming during the most horrid of times, which is COVID and a pandemic. But I want to say for this episode, Carrie is trying to move on, essentially, and she has her realtor who's become like her new Samantha, her new Judy, like they say, and she has kind of semi taken that slot, but has she really? I don't know. I feel like I do agree with a number of other YouTubers. They have kind of like done a jumble of woke moments, and it does feel a little forced at times. We have her new friend, the realtor. Hold on a sec. Seema Patel, played by Sarita Coldry. And she does an excellent job. She does kind of fulfill the Samantha role here, being her friend and also finding her a fabulous place to move. We can assume also because they're kind of shooting in, it seems like it's being shot over a number of seasons. So it's not just like static, like a couple of weeks or a couple of months. We've like fast forward a number of months, and it seems like it's spring, and she wants to more or less blossom again. And she thought it was Carrie's character, and she thought it was ideal for her to like maybe even move out of her apartment, which totally makes sense. A lot of people never really indulge in that, or once they feel comfortable with a spot, they're kind of like, why would I move? I have everything here. And she does want to expand. She can't stay in the old beautiful loft posh penthouse that she was living with Big, because there's too many reminders. And so Seema finds her this gorgeous place, but it really does seem quite muted, with no color. It's just completely white. There's a ton of sunlight, and it just doesn't read as Carrie either. Carrie's so colorful, and it's been, so daring and bold with her choices in terms of fashion, and then there's just to go completely blah. Nothing, no sense of personality there. She doesn't, and she feels kind of bad because she's been dragging this poor lady Seema around all this entire city, hasn't found her comfortable sweater like she describes it in one scene with Charlotte and Miranda, her favorite cashmere sweater, which is her apartment, who feels very comfortable. And as the episode progresses, Miranda is exploring, fantasizing about what she just experienced with Carrie's boss Che in the kitchen, but she hasn't really necessarily heard back from Che. So even though we're exploring this for Miranda's character, is she dealing with, somebody who's non-binary but also kind of fuckboyish? Or I don't know, how would you do, what would be the correct term there, because we don't know, but the tendencies are there of just like somebody who hit it and quit it. So Miranda's left there drooling like a little, schoolgirl crush on her, and Che hasn't even hit her up. And I get it, Che is very busy and on the road, but it's kind of like wah wah. We haven't seen Steve in a very long time, which is Miranda's husband. Charlotte is coping with her child, who is still figuring out what non-binary feels like to them. And she's they are discovering that the traditional things that coincide with being femme or female is not something that they're interested in, like having this beautiful mural painted, I'm sure, when they were like born, both so I think her name was Rose on the show, and now it's Rock. And then Lily was the adoptive child who came first, but because Charlotte wanted them to, coincide as siblings, she painted them their wall in this beautiful mural with their names. And then Rose doesn't feel like Rose. She wants to explore this other side, and so wants to paint it and wants to cut her hair, their hair. And Charlotte's having a difficult time with the pronouns and accepting that, and also the dolls. And I get it. All these instances are great tools to teach people, certain things just don't fly. They could have probably been passable in other years, but now recent, in terms of the recent social climate, I get why they're interjecting this. But it does feel as something, as opposed to something being a little more natural and interwoven into the story. It's literally every episode, it's stamping itself that it's turning a lot of people off. And so it's no longer fun. It's like literally a class in session every episode. And this is where people are kind of like, I don't think I want to watch this, Miranda finally fesses up to Charlotte about what happened with her and Che, and Charlotte and her traditional upbringing, and she already had an issue when Carrie was having an affair with Big, and now this circumstance, and they're trying to understand her or see where she's coming from, but Miranda isn't having it, or just doesn't want to be lectured, and also is perhaps coping with perhaps having to end her marriage. And so this is all bad reminders. She needs support, is basically what I'm saying. She needs support, and she doesn't feel that she's getting that from either one of them. Carrie seems worried about losing her job and it being bad on her, and then Charlotte's thinking, it's a marriage. You're messing up your marriage. Somehow they get to... thankfully, I think they've matured in the last... perhaps decade, where now or also because Carrie has already lost enough, lost Samantha and lost Big in one horrible swoop, that she doesn't want to lose another friend. And so I think they've all kind of decided to be more understanding. And then of course, because Seema is the new Samantha, she's having a traditional party with her parents, a Diwali. I think that's why it's titled that way. And Carrie kind of semi-invites herself because her Seema didn't want to go by herself and be basically harassed by her parents, like, why aren't you married? And it just goes to show that it doesn't matter which culture you are a part of. If you are of a certain age, it's looked down upon. That how dare you be a certain age and not be married and not have children, or leading towards being a grandparent already. How dare you be of a certain age? So even the Pope mentioned it this past week that and I don't understand where that's coming from, because the Pope has always been very progressive. So I'm kind of surprised that he thought it was very selfish for people to opt not to have children or be married by a certain age, to lead a selfish life and and it not lead to that. And I thought that was a little messed up. I'm like, come on, you as a pope don't even get to experience that. So is that up to you to say? Again, I am religious, but I'm not super religious, so just gotta call out the hypocrisies. Um, so yeah, Carrie goes to the Diwali and is helpful to Seema, gets along lovely with their parents, and discovers that Seema has lied to her parents about dating somebody, as long as they think that she's with somebody, even though it's an imaginary person, just so that she could get her parents off her back. And her parents are really lovely, but it just goes to show the social pressure is there. Carrie also dresses accordingly, and again, they reinforces that that is not considered appropriation but appreciation. And she does look lovely in her flower mohawk and garb, or traditional garb that she's wearing.